Well, good afternoon, friends. Good afternoon. Welcome. Welcome to another episode of Conversations with Dune Friends. I hope you're having a great day today. And uh, welcome again, to just another wonderful conversation. Today we have a fantastic friend, a fantastic guest joining us. We have Mr. Cameron, Mr. Bobby Cameron in the house, everybody. So grab your favorite tea and coffee and other beverage and join us. Join us for this wonderful conversation that we're going to talk about all things music. We have a bit of a legend in the house here, a fantastic musician and a wonderful human being. And I look forward to having him share a lot of stories with you, a lot of musical journeys with you. So given that background, folks, again, feel free to join us in the comment section, right in the video, right in the live video that you're watching right now. Because if you put your comments there, we will see it. We'll be able to feature it. We'll be able to have Bobby respond to your questions and see your encouragement along the way. So let me do a quick introduction of Mr. Bobby Cameron's background here for some of you who all settled in and ready to start the conversation with us here. Passion plus truth equals soul. Bobby is the real thing, a consummate performer, songwriter, and recording artist. He's connected to his East Coast heritage, the roots of the blues and a genuine earthliness that is both melodious and foot stomping. Bobby makes music that will move and inspire you, said John Kapek, songwriter, producer for Bonnie Raitt and Rod Stewart. The jagged rock foundations of Cape Breton may be a far cry from the dry and desolate flats of the Western Canadian prairies, but to Bobby Cameron, they both speak of the rugged terrain that served as a backdrops to his upbringing and apt metaphors for the journey that he took in his musical fortune. Years ago, Cameron left his rustic island, weaned on the rock and roll lifestyles of the legendary Matt Minglewood. Cameron and blues icon of Dutch Mason and both genre counterpoints to the Celtic-flavoured roots and music that dominated the region, hoping for a niche of his own in which to flourish. He founded a cultural sanctuary in Edmonton in the 1980s, and where he began to cut its teeth on as a musical contender. The credentials came quickly. Cameron, who first garnered national attention, winning the MuchMusic Guitar Warz competition in 1990, leading to several appearances with Jeff Healey, one of the contest judges. Other adjudicators were held spellbound by the virtuosity and riveting action of the fretboard, and Cameron managed to capture the fiery emotions of the down home feel that reflected the energy and the heritage. And armed with his acoustic, he would make any locale seems like it was a front porch jam, and with his electric guitar, Cameron would churn out the sounds of the kid from a hinterland, burning to be heard by the rest of the multitudes. It's that ability that drives, that continues to be a hallmark of his show. Now, over time, Cameron's steady output of creativity started turning heads, and especially among the musical pundits who marvel at the performer's ability to expand his proficiency in the guitar by performing works that also got the attention of the other songwriters. Now, he even made into the payroll of the New York-based publishing company, Carlin America Inc., which administered the creative content for the Canadian Idol and American Idol. During the tenure, Cameron hit play dirt with October Skies, which was covered by the Canadian Idol winner Ryan Malcolm on his platinum-selling CD. Most recently, and with his fourth album, Comfort Zone, released in 2015, Cameron was awarded the Best Blues Song for Suana during the 2016 Edmonton Music Awards. Through it all, Cameron would jump at the chance to perform in a step down or strip down, setting one voice and one guitar, and this love always led to the Doors of Edmonton Uptown Folk Club. Bobby also had the honor of performing with the legendary stage several times over the years, and continues to be to keep his historic venue close to his heart. Friends and folks and fans, please help me in welcoming our wonderful guest today, Mr. Bobby Cameron. How are you doing today, my friend?
Hello, Dune. I'm doing good. I'm kind of blushing. I was just listening to you recite some of my bio. I'm going, oh, man, there's a lot of hype in there.
Well, we're in the business. You're in the business.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
But I'm certainly grateful to be here. I'm grateful to be on your great show. I've been following, the contribution you've been making to, pulling the veil back on so many artists across the board. And it's so nice to watch. I'm glad to be here talking with you. And you look good today, by the way.
You do as well, my friend. I look like I won in the gray hair department. I have
me too. But you know what? There was a time where I thought, well, I never knew the color of my hair up until about 42, because I was always dyeing it in the rock and roll business. But I decided that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Let's embrace it.
I did that too until COVID came around. So when COVID came around, this hair color was born for me. So
I think it looks really good on you, man. It looks great. It looks great.
Well, thank you, my friend. Thank you for joining us for an hour and a bit here. And folks who are watching, again, feel free to add your comment to the comment section there. But Bobby, maybe start off by telling us maybe a story of how it all began. Do you remember how it all began so many decades ago? I don't want to make you feel like you're old, but you've been at this for a few years.
Well, yeah, I've been at it a few years, and like we've all been at it a few years. Is there any other way, really? Well, for me, it was I didn't start young. I mean, for most artists, I know most people think, I started when I was, most people, out of the womb, 5 years old. I was huge into hockey until I was almost 19, 20. Like I was really played a lot of hockey. My brother Graham was a really good guitar player, played locally, really extraordinary guitar player. And there was always guitars in our bedroom, but I never really paid much attention to them. And I remember when I turned 15, I can remember the day, and this is nothing cliche. I remember getting up to going to school, walking by, Graham had an assortment of guitars, but particularly that day, there was a Gibson SG on the stand, and I walked by it, for 10 years, didn't mean anything to me. But that day, before I went to school, I walked by it because it was to the right of my bed, and I just looked at it differently. It's almost like it stopped me because I needed to say something to me, and that was it. I come home that day, and I didn't know how to play. I just started spending time with it. I think for me, I really believe it was that was my journey, and it awoke that day. So that's where it started. I was about 15, 16, really. I started kind of late. But, I've always been kind of late coming to the party. But anyway, it's not really a very romantic story, but that's kind of where it started, dude.
Well, it is a magical story, I say. Here it is. Really, the instrument actually called out to you. I believe that. Yeah.
There
you go. The instrument actually called out to you. Now we have some wonderful friends chiming in already. Let me just display their comments again here. I don't know if you can see the comments on your setup there, but
yeah, I can.
Yeah, Stephanie Harp says, two great guys. So thank you, Stephanie. And of course,
and she's an amazing talent.
Oh, absolutely. We enjoyed conversation with her on the show.
Amazing person, too.
Yeah, absolutely. Robbie Suter chimed in. Awesome hockey player, he said.
No, not really.
And Stephanie Harp chimed in again. Love Barbie Cameron. What an incredible talent and genuine human being.
So, right back at you.
Yeah, yeah, you're well loved, my friend.
Let's talk about Stephanie.
Yeah, yeah, let's do that. Nah, she's doing some fantastic stuff internationally, I add.
Oh no,
So that's
Stephanie Harp to me. I remember the first time I seen her live. I didn't know who. It was actually a great way to get introduced to Stephanie because I didn't get any kind of hype before I went in. I just happened to show up at this club. I don't know where it was years ago, and I just zoned right in on who's that. Yeah, she's
yeah,
got it.
yeah, you bet. Yeah, yeah. And we have a friend, Michelle Dowling, chimed in.
Oh, Michelle Dowling, yes.
Yeah, so
Thank you,
great to see you,
Michelle.
Bobby.
God bless you, Michelle, and the family.
Yeah, yeah. So wonderful. That's how it's done, folks. Continue to chime in with your comments right along the way, right throughout, and be in the conversation with us. So, Bobby, obviously, with a long, illustrious career that you've
I
had,
don't know if it's lustrous.
that you've had so far, there's a lot of stories. I'm going to start by asking just some random stories here. We're going to share some photos of
Yeah.
kind of wonderful moments in your career and whatnot, and we'll talk about that. But tell us maybe the story of, do you have a highlight of, if you think about the entire career that you had so far, what would be one story that might be a little bit of a standout for you that's top of mind right now that you can share?
You know, it's not to come across about getting patting myself in the back or getting patted on the back. You know, I'm very uncomfortable with that when I'm older. I don't know what it is because it's about now to me it's about just about what got me involved in the music business when I was young and the love for it. And then when you're chasing your dream in any aspect of life, as you know, Dune, it's very, very important that you don't lose sight why you got involved in it and let that lead the charge, not just to try to further your cause or further your story in a superficial way. So, but anyway, I don't know why I'm rambling, but that's me. But anyway, the story that jumps out to me, it was like pinch my arm moment for me was I'll paraphrase it. I was playing with Lon John Baldery. We were at the Ottawa Blues Festival. We were on just before JJKO, and it was a hot summer day in July in Ottawa. I believe it's July in Ottawa, yeah. And John was on. It was about 10,000 people or 15,000 out there. It was just a great day. And then John just left the stage impromptu and just turned it over to me. That's the kind of guy John Baldery was. If he was into really, really promoting you, and the band had nothing rehearsed. I just, went into spring mode, jumped in the front of the mic, and I think I started playing Crossroads by Clapton because I needed to play some standards because we didn't plan for this. So that was fine. And, they ate it up. John came back, finished the set, and walked off the stage. And I remember walking off the stage, and there was a guy in the ball cap, and and I was walking by. I didn't even stop to say hello. He, just didn't have that vibe. And he said, really with a southern accent, he said, that was really good, man. Really good playing. I really liked your singing and everything out there. That was a great job. I said, hey, thanks very much. Mm-hmm. I didn't think anything of it. I walked down the ramp, and the promoter come up to me, and he says, that was a great set. Do you know who that is? I said, no, I don't have any idea. That's JJKO.
Wow.
So I turned around with my tail between my legs and walked up the ramp as he's moving. I said, Mr. Kale, I am so, so sorry I didn't recognize you. I mean, he's kind of guy where the look of Clapton, but does everybody know who JJK was visually? He had really, I could go, incognito, and I was just kind of, I didn't know what to say, but he was so gracious, and we talked for a bit, and that was kind of a moment. I said, that was one I'll always remember.
Yeah, fantastic. It's funny how when we think about our career, different moments jump out at us that others might not predict or others might not think about. But folks, as you're watching out there, I believe we have some surprises lined up for you. We all know that Mr. Bobby Cameron here has some wonderful kind of studio work that he does at home as well there, a home studio. And he has studio A, B, C, D, E, F, and whatever have you. I think we're going to see some of that today if we're good.
Yeah, I got a few things hanging on the wall I could show you. And, just paraphernalia like we all do. And you got an amazing story, too. You're a multi-talented guy. And, it's all about I guess, like you said, Dune, you gotta, no matter where you're at. I think one thing about when COVID kind of leveled everything and we're trying to rebuild it again, what this new sense of normal is just try to take, grateful for the journey we all got, for
Hmm.
the things that we do get a chance to do. And we got to smell the coffee without.
Yeah, yeah, that's fantastic. So I'm going to ask you: do you remember the first? What was your early music that you played? Going back all the way to early part of your career, what kind of music did you get into back then?
Well,
Was it rock and roll or right
yeah, well,
after
I
that?
mean, when I was growing up in Cape Breton, I had a few people in my life that were my musical influences. My brother, who played a lot of, the stuff. Well, we're talking back in the late '60s, '70s. I'm 58 now, so I mean, all that great music I was exposed to through my brother Graham, and because I remember band guys would. When I didn't even know what that was because I was a hockey player then. It was just like guys staying over at night. They'd be rehearsing. So, I got exposed to all the greats, like the early stuff, the Motown stuff, the real authentic blues stuff from B.B. King and all that kind of stuff. The Drifters, all of that stuff. I mean, but rock and roll, like the Celtic thing was, it was still big in Cape Breton, but it wasn't taken to the world yet until, Rita McNeil was probably the Rankins and stuff like that, took it out there and then really exposed Cape Breton. And then when Matt Minglewood hit in the '70s, Matt took this rock and blues hybrid to the world, and you couldn't help but be influenced by Matt Minglewood. In fact, to the point where I was living in Port Hawkesbury and I hitchhiked to Sydney on the weekends to try to get involved in some band, and I didn't even know where I was staying. I didn't care. I was just hitchhiking with my guitar, and I'd figure it out when I got there. But the universe would always figure it out. I always found a place to sleep, and I always got a band to jam with. So I was exposed to that rocking blues, and then when I met a friend of my brother's, Rod McDonald, who introduced me to Dutchy Mason, introduced me to Leonard Skinner, introduced me to the Southern rock and roll bands and the Texas bands. And then a light went on in my head, and I just, wow. So, like every other kid, and I'm going to fire the grenade back to you, like, all I could do was go to the concerts in the summer. My hometown was, at the best, was 5,000 people. Most time was 3,000. So it was a small knit community. We'd go to the rink in the summer and see all our favorite bands, and that's how we got exposed to all this music. And the maritime bands, April Wine, were huge at the time. Big influence on me. So that's kind of where it went. So the rock thing was just it was poured over me, not purposely, which is I had no choice. It was all around me. And then the rock and blues style was all around me. So I had the Celtic bass through osmosis. So, I got to figure this out.
Oh, fantastic. Now I'm going to bring in a photo, and I'd like you to maybe tell the story behind this
Yeah.
photo here. And yeah, I mean, with your setup there, the iPad I think you're on right now, that camera might be shifted to the one side there. So if you kind of take note of where that is, and our audience is just right behind that camera there. So I'm going to bring this photo in here, and can you see this photo here, buddy?
Yeah.
Yeah, tell us about this fantastic looking
That
photo.
was, yeah, there's an interesting story behind that. That's, the autographs, there's a bunch of Canadian stars. Jeff Healey's on there, but right up top, front and center, Stevie Ray Vaughan. And then there's Jeff Beck, '89. That was the last show Stevie Ray Vaughan and Jeff Beck would ever play together in Canada. Of course, the last show Stevie Ray Vaughan would ever play in Canada, not knowing at the time, because in 1990 in August, the helicopter went down and we lost one of the greatest. So this was Sony Music got these autographs, especially the top two, for this Guitar Warz competition. It was going to be part of the prize. So this was already a year prior. They had this guitar signed for this competition. When I was lucky enough to, and I mean lucky, because I wasn't the best guitar player there. I just think that was meant to be. I definitely wasn't the best guitar player. I really believe what I had was I wanted it more than anybody. And I believe I can move mountains, because there was more technical guys. But, without blabbering too much, I was lucky. The judges chose me, and I won the Canadian Guitar Warz in 1990. And that was part of my prize to win that autographed guitar.
Wow.
So on the left, there's a bunch. You can't see it in the shadows, but there's other great names. Jeff Healey's is there. There's other great names. Kim Mitchell's, obviously, he was part of the judge. And
yeah.
So I never played it. Obviously, it's just something to have around. I mean, but lots of people want to buy it, but nah. There's one time I remember being in Toronto and, really struggling because, going for the original career, it's hard. It makes ends meet. And I had a guy that I almost sold it because he offered me a lot of money for it. But I couldn't do it. So, because it's a piece of, it's living proof of, if you believe in yourself and you blast through the fear anyway, mm-hmm. It's amazing what the human spirit can do. Because, I had a lot of anxiety when I was a kid and a lot of fear, but I had more heart than I had fear. And I'm glad I did, because if I would have listened to my fear, I would have stopped at anything. I just would have turned around and went home, So that just proves to me that just leap in the net will appear,
Wonderful. Fantastic. And we have Mr. Percy Marshall here, a fantastic guitar player and wonderful musician, your colleague there. He said, great stories, Bobby. And then we have...
And Dune, as we know, Percy Marshall is the greatest guitar player to probably ever come out of this city and not this province, hands down.
Yeah. We had him on this show a little while back, and we sure enjoy the stories that Percy had to tell as well. It was a fantastic conversation. Percy, thank you for joining us here through the comment section. Now we have Randy Allen, and great guitar player and real fine person, he said about you, Mr.
Thank you, Randy. I really appreciate it. And right back at you, man. Like, I just, at this point in my life, just anybody digging what I do, I'm so grateful. Because as we know, there's so much talent out there in this city.
Yeah.
And, it's not an easy gig, but I don't think anything really easy nowadays. You really got to dig down and figure out exactly what's going to make these flowers grow.
Robbie Suter, also a great guitar player, and he loves guitar. He says, very cool story on that guitar. So,
yeah, it is. And there's actually a really cool story because this is actually really, I just remember something about that guitar. My friend Jane McEwen, who I didn't know at the time, I knew she was working at Sony, but she was there when in Toronto. She lived in Toronto then, but she was there when they got all this signed with Stevie Ray and Jeff Beck and stuff. But this is way before I actually entered this competition. So Jane told me that story years later. So that's amazing.
Fantastic. Mr. Anthony Tony Poirier said, great seeing you again, Bobby Cameron. So everybody's enjoying our time here together. Wonderful photo. Tell us about the story behind this.
Oh, I am honored to say my friend and my buddy Matt. I was opening up for Matt. That's a show backstage just before he went on and ripped it up. Matt Minglewood. I've told Matt many times, but he hears it from so many people. I mean, Matt's influenced so many Maritimers. But I said, Matt, I know you've heard this a million times, but you really have influenced me, man. But what I love about Matt Minglewood, first of all, he's incredibly sharp. Where he goes mentally, spiritually, at the drop of a hat on stage in real time is truly remarkable. He's got an amazing memory of detail. But his power to be a front man, I hold him up. I told him to his face one day, I said, I really think you're as good as Bruce Springsteen live. And he just looked at me. I'm telling you, you're different genres, but you have that command. And I know people probably argue that in his favor and against, maybe not even Springsteen's favor. And plus Matt is an amazing vocalist and an amazing songwriter. So that was backstage at the Century Casino in Edmonton a few years back. Mm-hmm. And
Fantastic. Again, music is always about really hanging around with others and collaborating and mixing it up and all that stuff. Music is not a solo sport, is it? It's really a community sport. It really is a friendship sport.
Well, I tell you what, June, that's kind of, I think that's what I learned. I'm not afraid to admit, I don't know if your journey as we get a little older, we kind of reflect on, and we're not afraid to put the spotlight on areas of our personality that maybe got in the way, because we're trying to grow. And, when you get so driven, especially in music as an artist, you can get so driven and so like blinders on that you're not really pushing people away, but, you're not really paying much attention to it because you're so driven on your target. And I think now, that's what it's all about. Exactly what you just said.
Yeah. Pretty much every business out there is a people business. Pretty much every initiative out there, people is the most complex and the most worthwhile part of that whole thing, right? The moment we realize that, we're at the next level of play, I think. So
I agree.
Another fantastic photo. Tell us the stories behind this one.
The amazing Samantha King. I got a chance to sit in one of her shows, I believe it was, during, I think for the Blues Society. I hope I got that right. A few years back. I know how that went down. I was sitting there for Jimmy Gabosh because Jimmy couldn't do that show. The amazing Jimmy Gabosh, one of the greatest blues guitar players. Like he's such an authentic guy to be from Canada. It's just like he's so real. Like you swear to God, he was from Mississippi. I mean, I think he's got Mississippi DNA in him. But anyway, I'm sitting in with that amazing band, and of course the incredible vocals and frontmanship of Samantha King, who is just, like I've said, I haven't, in my experience of just being a guitar player, there's not many that come close to, what she can do with that voice that God gave her. Just incredible.
Yeah. We certainly enjoyed spending time with her on this show earlier on. And Mr. Don Marcotte, another fine jewel of Edmonton area. And he said, Samantha is one in a million. And so are you, Bobby, said Mr. Don
Thank
Marcotte.
You, Don. And another incredible talent, Don, like an amazing bass player, amazing guy, amazing at doing video work, amazing at producing radio shows. I mean, the guy is just across the board, just like he's got a resume incredibly a mile long. Started from Ottawa, and somehow he ended up in, with A Channel out here years ago in Edmonton, and we're glad he did. But yeah, Don's amazing. Yeah. Thank you, Don. Love you, brother.
Yeah, fantastic. We have such just so many incredible musicians and incredible people in Edmonton. As they say, Edmonton's a bit of a mecca for live music in particular, and just music scene altogether, right?
Oh, I agree, and it's got great studios too. I mean, it's, as you know, I mean, there's so many great producers and studios in this town, and access to people at every That's why I like Edmonton. It just in every aspect of the business, you can really get your hands on somebody that really knows what they're doing. Just like yourself, And I think it's really rich in that, even during these hard times and during the music business has reinvented itself, because the last 10 years the module has changed. There's a lot of stuff to be, you can grab here in this city to really, really assist you.
Yeah, Mr. Keith Kwask chimed in. Love seeing you live, Bobby. And here's a photo. Of course, we have to do a big shout out to Maureen Ames of Maureen Ames Photography.
Oh, yeah, great photographer. Yeah. Thank you, Keith. I love you, bro.
Yeah, she does so many wonderful, so much wonderful work for the Edmonton musician community. And
totally.
It's fantastic. Yeah.
And I'm grateful because she's taken a lot of the live shots of me and a lot of people, out of the kindness of her heart, and does an amazing job. And she's captured some, moments. I always seem to make the same face when I'm playing the guitar. I'm trying to reach that sweet spot, but it's been a journey for me.
Yeah, yeah. Well, as they say, we guitar players have guitar face is we can't control that. We can't control that. It has a what is it? Strings attached to from our instrument to our mouth, and it makes us do
Yeah,
funny things while we're into
that's actually that's a good metaphor, actually. Yeah, I like that.
it. uh, Tell us about this performance here.
That's with the Front Porch Roots Review. An assortment of amazing talent. I might have to put my glasses on to pick everybody out individually.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh God, there's too many people on there to pick out. But the Front Porch, it was headed by Ron Ralt.
I can
Gave a
zoom in a little
crawdad.
bit.
What's that?
I can zoom in
Yeah,
a little bit if that helps.
yeah,
Does that help?
yeah. The Front Porch Roots Review, and it's that's yeah. I'm on the Telecaster, and it's my mind's just going blanker. I apologize.
Yeah, no worries.
Carla Anderson, I believe. Is that Carla in the middle singing? Or I believe that's
Yeah,
Carla.
yeah,
Incredible artist.
yeah,
Gordy Matthews on my right. I know I got the Sunburst Telecaster. You know,
yeah.
it's incredible. But anyway, Peter North, legendary journalist, CKUA personality, and now festival promoter, the Salmon Arm Roots and Blues Festival. This Peter has this. He does these ensembles. We did shows at Festival Place. He brings in special guests, and I think I was one at the time. I think there's a few special guests that night, but that's that Festival Place in Sherwood Park, that great live venue. Yeah,
Yeah,
and that
fantastic.
was we were in mid-flight into something there. I don't know what we were doing, but it looks like I have a confused look on my face. It looks like I'm looking for my chord chart.
Just checking up on are we in the right key again? Now, so you have
That's hey, Dune, you know me well.
we have we're going to show our viewers here, our friends and folks who are watching, a little bit of your studio arrangements that you have at home here. So you're going to be on a mobile kind of setup soon here, my friend. But before we get into that, this at home as well, this photo?
No, that's I'm tracking at Stu Kirkwood Sound Extractor Studios in the South Side, an amazing facility. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
the amazing Stu Kirkwood. I don't know if you're familiar with Stu, but you know what? If you haven't, you should do a show on him. Incredible producer, incredible songwriter, artist. Amazing.
Wonderful. Stu Kirk. So before we get into the kind of a bit of a show and tell on the studio arrangements you have there and the stories behind those, I'd like to ask you a different question. Can you think of, you shared a bit of a highlight earlier. Can you think
Yeah.
a bit of a low point of your career and a story that you're willing to share with the group here? Because we all have those low points in our career. And I wonder what might be one that represent a bit of a low point in your, how many years? Is it 40 years or
Oh God, yeah. Like I'm 58, and I consider myself. When I turned 20, I was hard at it. So I was,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
so more than that, 38 years.
yeah, yeah.
And but I mean, there was prep time, so I'm sure, yeah, 40 would be
Yeah, yeah, roughly 40.
wow. A
So
low point. Oh yeah,
yeah.
lots of low points. Reality points. You know, emotionally, I suffered from. I'm not afraid to say it, but because it's just part of the artistic, the high wire act you do. I had a real depression side of my personality that when I was in my late 30s that hit me hard when I was traveling and really, going for it hard, and the struggle of trying to survive, and the struggle of pushing it forward, and the struggle of how am I going to make this work, being in Toronto, and being in Vancouver, and against all odds, just keeping going. I mean, I remember the lowest point I think in my career was, this is a reality
Yeah.
and I look back at it now and going, wow. I mean, you kept going. Good for you.
Hmm.
I was so broke in Vancouver, but I had to do these shows, and I remember and then things turned around. I had a chance to open up for Big Sugar
Hmm.
at the Commodore Ballroom. And I didn't pay a lot of money, but I needed the gig and I needed to pay the band. Because at the time I was living in Vancouver, and I would just hire great musicians, but I'd have to pay them, right?
Hmm.
So I hired Colin James's band, and I got to know them because Colin wasn't touring, and I paid them. Of course they would get paid because they were side guys. But I opened up for Big Sugar the next day, everything I had was in my minivan. My amps, my briefcase, my clothes. I lived, I was traveling. I was back and forth. I was on the road. I was at a Starbucks on a beautiful summer day in Vancouver. Locked the van, left, went in to get my coffee, come out, my van was gone.
Wow.
And I'm talking about being in a parking lot where to my right was a string of cars, to my left was a string of cars, and my van was gone.
Right.
And my money was in there, my gig money. I had my wallet thing, obviously, but I lost everything. All my vintage guitars, all my hot wire guitars, my 2 amps. I lost clothes, wiped out, and my van got stolen. So I never got any of that back, and that was real. That was a low point because I couldn't do my gigs. I was emotionally going, okay, what, the universe is telling me something here, but it's just stuff that can happen. You pick yourself up and you figure, and then, as slowly I went on and things started to fall in place. It took a while, but I got back on my feet, but that would have been, that was a blow to the guts, for sure.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that. And it's just, again, a reminder, if you live long enough, you're going to have some low points that are very, very poignant and very extreme, I guess, right? So thank you for sharing that. And again, to our folks who are watching there, it's just a reminder that it can happen to any one of us. And the key thing, though, is you pick yourself up and you continued on because, it does get better. The sun does rise.
Oh yeah, it does. But I had a lot of friends out there that make me laugh, during it because the humor is a big part of my gasoline, and probably all of us because we draw from that. I mean, when you really have a deep-hearted laugh against all odds, but you're feeling that laugh, that can pour gasoline into your tank, and it did. And it's just stuff that happens. I mean, vehicles get ripped off. There's thieves out there that are really good at it. And it was a real, I got to know the police officer at the time that was doing the investigation. He said there's a real hot ring of vehicle theft, and they stripped the vehicles down to the shore. They're on a boat, they're gone, right? So he said, don't take it personally. And by the way, he said, this made me laugh. He goes, Chrysler minivans are the easiest vehicle to steal. Guess what I was driving?
Yeah, wow.
Well, I'm here and I don't care. I got guitar, and a really beautiful moment was when I got back to Edmonton because I had some shows. I eventually got my van back, and it wasn't written off, but everything was gone. But I went back to Edmonton to get some gigs, and they did a big. I didn't know, but I was playing at the sidetrack, and they did an impromptu fundraiser for me, and it was kind of really humbling because I'm so private. But they handed me a bunch of cash to buy a new guitar, and whatever. The love's everywhere, man.
Yeah. Well, when people are down, those gestures and those actions are even more impactful, right?
Totally.
You can help somebody when they're sort of doing well. That's good. But when the people are really down on their luck, and you're able to extend a helping hand, that even means so much more, right? Now,
absolutely.
Now, you mentioned filling your tank, and that is just a great segue into this next photo here, my friend. Tell us about this beautiful family.
Well, there it is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, guess who is the boss in that picture, Dune? Guess who isn't? Okay, so I'm looking at it. I'm gonna call my stage right and left. Just my wife is on the far left, and that gray guy is me. And to my immediate right is my boy Breton.
Mm-hmm.
My little autistic genius Breton is right there, and then my artistic genius Jaden is right there, and then the boss, first in command, Sherry, my wife.
There you go, fantastic.
And that's just a picture I think we sent to Cape Breton when COVID hit in March or something. We were just, everybody's just locked in. I just took a picture and I think we sent it down, and just my family, and because my sisters convinced me to entertain them on Friday nights. So I go on to this, whatever. I wasn't playing, sure, okay. I just happened to take a picture before I plucked a few songs, I believe.
Yeah, fantastic. Now, There
That's
they
at home.
are.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
look at that record.
Yeah, I just they and Brett my son Breton, whenever I try to get him to smile, he looked like he was in pain because he didn't really know how to smile. But yeah, they just I just got that award that day, and they just said I think I am obviously that's me initiating this little spontaneous picture because they didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
Come on, hold up Daddy's award.
Well, hey, you mentioned autism, and certainly that affects many folks out
Yes.
there. And I myself, in my family, we have autism as a challenge to address and deal with. But it turns out to be, as I always say to people, any of those so-called limitations that people tend to think that they are comes with it is also a real blessing.
Absolutely.
So whether it's my sister who had polio when she was 2-3 years old and still in her 50s today, that's a gift to our family, we believe. And also whether it's autism,
that's
or
amazing.
Other things. I have firsthand experience with family members that have autism, and I can tell you that they have their gifts, strong in many different areas as well, and they overcome so many things if you encourage them and support them, and so it's a very
absolutely
wonderful journey for sure.
I mean, and as you will probably say too, and I know I do it on a daily basis. Like, we're all proud of our kids. Jaden, for different reasons, will inspire me, and Breton, just how his autistic, and I agree. I don't think it's a hand, if I can use the word handicap at all. I think that they are so gifted in other areas that I can't even reach. And he wows me on a daily basis with how his mind can figure things out. Like I just test him every now and then, like without going into the detail. I remember I have a portable version of Pro Tools. I put it up on the PC upstairs, and I showed him lightly, I got a mic going if he wants to record, he wants to do whatever, just, have fun with it. And I didn't really show him much. He figured it out.
Yeah.
And he's using it, making his own. He likes to make movies, and he does a lot of images and puts it together with this video software, and he'll record his audio, but he's figuring it out, and at lightning speed.
Yeah. Human beings, are just miraculous in all the nooks and crannies of the things that surprises you. And thank you for sharing that story. And I can certainly relate.
And thanks for sharing yours, Dune. That's amazing.
I can certainly relate. And, we spent many early years with, kind of the challenges of that. But then those challenges became a gift, and this gift became things that we would never give up for anything else. So
no, absolutely not. I mean, I am proud. Yeah. I am proud of. I've met, like, my wife Sherry works with Autism Speaks Canada, ironically, raising funds for the cause, but I've met so many brilliant geniuses.
Absolutely.
Like, it's just absolutely incredible.
Yeah, and I'm glad the world has kind of evolved to recognize that there are many different ways of approaching life. There's many different ways of being intelligent, whether it's emotional or intellectual, whatever have you, and many other things. So now, on this note, I would love to have you take us through a little bit of a tour, however much you want to show, of your studio setup, my friend.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not Hollywood studios, but it's me downstairs in my basement. But I got a little nooks and cranny how I figured it out.
Yeah, that would be fantastic.
I do down here, I'm actively producing 90% of the time, so I'll track all my my stuff here, and I'll go into a bigger facility, cut drums and stuff like that, and I'll do all the editing back at home. But I'm going to keep this on my stand, Dune. See if this works. Okay, just give me a second. I'm going to plug this thing. I should have enough power in my iPad.
Through the magic of portable devices, we're gonna.
So
there you go.
Are you there?
I can see your iMac there, of course.
And then we're going to go around, and I'm going to go to all my...
you got something covering the lens for the moment.
Oh, I do?
Yeah. Oh, your hand or something was in front of it. Oh, I see that you probably accidentally clicked the hang up button or so I'm sure you're coming right back in. Folks, Don't you go anywhere. Mr. Bobby Cameron will be right back, and he's going to share some stories surrounding the home studio setup that he has there. You're back, definitely. I see you, and no worries, no worries. So take us away, my friend. Take us away.
Okay, well, I just got my rack here with my. Are you there?
Yeah, it's a little dark right now. Is there a way to add more light to
I can
it?
crank some light on. Sorry, I'm such a moody guy. I like to have. That better?
A little bit, still a little bit dark.
But... Tell me if this is better.
Yeah, I think that's better. Yeah.
Anyway, I just got my rack. Well, I'll just go into my Pro Tools. That's my little setup here. I'm just a cluster guy, right? So.
Yeah, nice.
And I just all my MIDI stuff, and I come in. This is one rack of my guitars here. I got a bunch of guitars there, and obviously, and I got I got my kind of all my foam and stuff from my mic and stuff like that. I mean, it ain't. And my pedal boards, I got them everywhere.
Yeah. If you can slow down the motion, we can absorb and take it in a little bit. So tell us. Do you have a name for this room? Is this Studio A or is this?
Bobby's Pit.
There you go, Bobby's Pit. Bobby's Pit.
This amp here has created a lot. Hold on, I'm going to put a light on. This amp here has created a lot of noise over the years.
Oh, it's a Fender DeVille?
Yeah, it's a basement.
A basement, of course. Yeah, I should.
And there's I got all these things with my kids. They made that when they were really young. Best dad ever.
Yeah. There you go.
And then. I got my, I use that quite a bit, my Dooley and Dobro coast. And this is my wife hates these old chairs, but I love it. And I just got I got some other amps here. You got an assortment amps too. I got a.
Yeah.
And I got my Marshall, and then I got a picture of Baldery.
Cool.
And then I got my cousin Dave, who passed away, great guitar player. Mm-hmm. And then there's me playing with Healey.
Mr. Jeff Healey himself, absolutely.
Yeah, and of course you've seen this guitar.
Yeah, there it is on the wall.
So, and I got I got my amps.
It's behind glass, enclosed glass, right?
Yeah, and I got this is my newest little baby. I love that. And I know you're a Master Boogie guy, Dune, but I got hold on, I'm gonna turn the light on here. I like to crank that up every now and then too.
As much as the Mesa Boogie guy that I am, I still have 5 Fenders. So
this is just downstairs in my basement. It's really cozy. So I'll do a lot of a picture of me in case you forgot what I look like. And then I built this little portal isobooth. Now this is not total isolation, but it's sound blankets, and I got inside here. So I'm just I'm going to turn on the light here. So what I'll do is. I got it all wired up. I can go into here, this little sound area, and just cut vocals and hear guitars or whatever. I have it set up. So it's not total isolation, but it sounds good.
Yeah, nice.
Come around here, and I got a bunch of racks and stuff on my TV. And when I get frustrated, I beat that. And I get frustrated a lot. There's an old promo shot. And of course, I bet you didn't expect to see this.
Was that one of your first instruments?
No, I don't. Dune, you don't want to hear me play that. But I try anything once.
Yeah.
And I got a bunch of assortment guitar. That's kind of a little bit of a.
Yeah.
A little bit of a,
Cool. Well, there you go. There's your Studio A, folks. Studio A is
I'm gonna turn off
again,
some of these.
Otherwise
Dune,
known as.
I'm going to strap myself back in here, Dune. If I lose you, I'll be right back.
You bet. Wonderful. Yeah. Yeah, so that was Studio A, and otherwise known as Bobby's Pit, and
it's really humble, but it gets, as you know, you're a Pro Tools guy. You know what we can do.
Yeah, software. I don't know if you know, but I used to, when I was in grade 10 back in the mid 80s, I was paid to program software when I was still in grade 10. So
tell me about you. You for a second. I want to know something. Can I interview you for a second?
You can ask me one question, and that's it.
Okay, sorry, I'm going to plug this iPad back in case it just dies. Mm-hmm. Okay. Give me Dune. Welcome to my show. It's from Bobby's Pit. It's called Get to the Heart of the Matter. Mm-hmm. tell me about, tell me about Dune. The music,
Wow.
computers,
Right.
and how you blend these two worlds, plus the public speaking and all that stuff.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So at my core, I'm a
Yeah.
learner. I love learning. I love learning. So learning becomes teaching. Learning becomes technology career.
Yeah.
Learning becomes music. So all of those things that I do are all tied together by this common thread. I just love learning, and that's why I'm a bit of a tech geek that way as well. But certainly, I've done lots of different career tracks, management consulting. Own a management consulting company that had 12 employees at one time who are management consultants. So I did a lot of corporate stuff. I did a lot of government stuff. But these days, as you can see with my gray hair here, a bit older, I put music in the front and center of my life as much as I can.
Yeah.
While still making a living that you need to make a living.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so I brought music back into my life. So that's the short version.
Well, that's great. And I knew, because remember yesterday when we were doing troubleshooting, trying to get me going here, you're really great at like quickly, casing technical situations and because I'm running a lot of older Macs and older OS, and it's that's like trying to go onto these new apps and stuff. Right?
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm just going to do something. 2 seconds.
You bet. Yeah. So
there we go. I'm here.
There you go. So tell us more. What I'm going to do is I want to bring up the next photo here and tell us about this experience here. This seems like it might be, I don't know, is this in Canada or elsewhere?
Yeah, it's in Toronto. I love it. You know what? It's in front of the subway. Okay, this is the Beaches Blues and Jazz Festival in Toronto. So what they do is on Queen Street, Toronto, east, they for 2 miles up each street, both sides and down. Everybody's in front of a venue playing, not at the same time. They'll stagger it. I was situated in front of Subway, and I didn't think I would like it, but it was just incredible because as soon as you started playing, you were just surrounded by people, and it was great. I remember flipping a lot of CDs that day. It was just. My publisher, Adine O'Brien, who works with E1 in Toronto, was selling CDs from me, and I remember because the gig didn't pay a lot, but that was a good night.
That story is a great reminder for all of us that a fancy stage with not enough people who actually support you and are into your music is nowhere near as meaningful as a kind of what I'm going to say. Less fancy stage that have people that are engaged, right?
No, you're absolutely right, too. And the thing is, as you can see, the production, it wasn't a great sound system. We just quick and dirty, and that's the great Paul Noonan on keys and vocals from Toronto, originally from Ireland. And Dan's on drums, but I don't know if Dan plays a platinum blonde, but he's not. I don't think he's sitting in on. Is he there right now? I don't think so. Yeah, he is. But anyway, these guys, once again, one of my many trips to Toronto, you fly in, you go to your hotel, you hire some guys, and you go rehearse and you do a show. This was the whole weekend. But it was just magical because literally you're right there with, on the street.
Fantastic.
No bells and whistles.
Fantastic. Thank you, folks, for continuing to chime in with your comments. Susan Kennedy said, fun having you live in my home. Love hearing your voice and seeing your smiling face. Miss you.
Well, Susan, my close friend from Cape Breton, Nova Scotia, Susan and David Bernstein. Mm-hmm. David Bernstein, originally from Edmonton, a brilliant musician. That was when I lived in Vancouver, I lived with David, and I actually can say, I think I actually introduced them to, and they're now husband and wife.
There you go. You're a matchmaker extraordinaire.
Well, I don't know. No, not really. No.
Now, is it Jean or Jean McDonald chimed in again, agreeing with Susan. Jean said that it is great, isn't it, Susan?
My beautiful sister from another mother, Jean McDonald, and Susan too, like they're family to me. Mm-hmm. We grew up in Cape Breton, and they all went off in branches, different life. I mean, Susan, I think, just retired with the Scotia Bank or Bank of Montreal. No, Royal Bank. I got them all wrong. Anyway, Susan, I apologize for that. And Gene McDonald, I got a really good story about Gene. When I was touring with Baldery in America, Gene and her husband Paul drove from Ohio all the way up. Drove from where was it at? They drove 12 hours up to see us in Ohio. At a bar club that we did there with Baldery, and that was amazing. Anyway,
yeah, fantastic. Now here's a photo of what is it? Jumping Jack Flash? No.
Yeah, well, I wish it was with the Rolling Stones, but it wasn't. That's at the Beaumont Roots and Blues Festival. I just happened to jump off the stage, jump over the ramp into the crowd.
Love it. That is a fantastic shot. Whoever, of course, this is Brian. Brian, I want to say his name correctly, so you might know his name, the last name pronunciation better.
From Beaumont? Yeah.
Yeah. So Brian, the photographer, I mean, from visual.
Oh, yes. No, I'm not going to tempt Brian's name because I'll destroy it. But yeah, it's Brian.
Yeah. So, yeah, he's another.
That's Brian. That's Brian's photo. Yeah.
Yeah. He's another really popular photographer who's Brian very giving in the Edmonton community as well.
And an amazing, beautiful guy, an incredible, talented photographer. Mm-hmm. And he just seems to be everywhere, always capturing. He captures these really cool shots. Like I remember, it looks like I was in control there, but actually when I jumped off the stage in Beaumont, I went up. I wanted to get into the crowd, but there was no entry point, so I had to climb a fence. And I remember to get over it, I pretty well ended everything. And it was, I remember going, I said, why did I put myself in a situation where I got to follow through now? But anyway, I made it to the crowd eventually.
In other words, there were hurdles in that journey.
Yeah, there was painful hurdles.
There you are in some studio somewhere. Or
that's at CK Way. That's with Andy Donnelly. Yes, the Celtic show, the famous Andy Donnelly, Andy Donnelly's Celtic show, and and we're talking about something.
Yeah, very cool, very cool. Now, there you are with.
Yeah, and I'm just gone blank.
Very cool. This is almost like a green room, obviously, of some sort. You're probably in the green room.
Yeah, I'm definitely in the green room. Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. Now, oh man, you look like a young, I don't know, I want to say some guy who you would see in an 80s movie, like one of those 80s movie guy that you might see with right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's Stuart McDougall and us, and we're at the Big Valley Jamboree.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah. So you've been in Edmonton for how long now, sir?
God, man, on and off for quite a few years. Few years.
Cool. So, sounds like.
And that's the man with The Devil Went Down to Georgia.
I was going to say that. Yeah. The one in the black T-shirt.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah. Tell us about the. If you talk to somebody who's a new guitar player, who just got into the guitar, just like your story of how, perhaps one day the guitar spoke to him or her and they grab the guitar and they want to do something with it. What would be your advice to those new guitarists coming into the picture?
Well, less about technical and trying to copy somebody's style, and try to find out your own voice in it. Mm-hmm. And I find if you're listening to players, I mean, this is just how I tried to figure this out. If you're listening to players and you're taking it in where you're trying to study them to the point where you're trying to emulate everything they're doing, I find it's hard to make, it's really hard to make your own sound. Mm-hmm. And I think that you need to woodshed yourself to figure out what your voice is. So that goes with being an artist or anything, because I find that some people are really good at interpreting people. When they come to doing their own thing, there's no individuality. And I think is to figure out what your expression is on the guitar, what your thing is, what your foot forward is, how you want to, put your stamp on what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that how do you do that? Well, you just you spend a lot of time with yourself, your own sound, your finger movements, and you get in touch with your ears and how you want it to sound and how you want to express your instrument.
Mm-hmm.
And there has to be a moment where there's a lot of hours with just you and that instrument, and less about trying to figure out how Van Halen did it, or how Clapton did it, or how Healy did it, or how Mark Knopfler. Like, we're going to get influenced, but there's a point where you try to just redo what they're doing, and I don't find you develop your own sound that way.
Yeah, and when you try to imitate, there's two paths. One is you imitate it and you got it, and you can possibly, in some cases, stuck within it. And then another one is you imitate and you can't get it quite there to your satisfaction, and you get disheartened and you give up and you move on. Because, but one of the best, kind of sound that you can be authentic to, of course, is your own, right? So you just have to find the thing, as you said, that you like, that you say, this is me, this is, because when you look at all of those really famous players, a lot of them don't have the fantastic chops per se, but they have a personality that's unmistakable, right?
Well, you know what, Dune, I think that's, and by the way, I really apologize for just getting slower as I go on. That was the great Charlie Daniels on that last picture.
Mm-hmm.
With the cowboy hats of Big Valley, the great Charlie Daniels.
You bet.
Just for some reason, my brain's moving fast. And I was like, how did I forget that? Passed away. But the thing is, just jumping back to what you said was, I remember, here's an interesting way to answer that question. I remember when they won the Guitar Warz. I know why I won it, and there was so many great players there. But I remember there was a blog going on at some time, and this guy got on there. He wasn't happy that I won. Yeah, Charlie Daniels. I apologize, Mr. Daniels. God bless your soul. That was an honor to sit there. And then next to him was the great Stuart McDougall that I had a chance to play with during that day. We were doing an Ian Tyson tribute, and we were on before Charlie Daniels, and that was great. Actually, I wasn't supposed to be in that picture, Dune, but do you know who hauled me into it? Was Stuart. Bobby, get over here. And I said, no, go ahead, you take the picture with him. So that wasn't... Did I lose? Are you there?
I'm still here.
Yeah, sorry. I think that... but anyway, so this guy got on. He wasn't happy I won the Guitar Warz, and he said, Bobby's not a great technical guitar player. What Bobby's got is feel. And I said, you know what? That guy's right.
Mm-hmm.
I, like you said, Dune, personality. I will take that compliment. I have feel and personality. I am not a great technical guitar player. Mm-hmm. I'm not. And like you, I remember the show you did on Jeff Alexander. God bless Jeff. He's going through a tough time right now, but a brilliant guitar player.
Mm-hmm.
Like Jeff is a technical wizard, and I'm sure you are too. I'm not like that. I'm meats and potatoes, no matter what I do. I have a lot of heart, and I'll figure out feel, and I'll take that compliment. And I said, you know what? I agree with that guy. And by the way, Dune, not to backtrack, and I totally apologize, brother. That was me and Lenny Gallant. The great Lenny Gallant. Can you go back to that picture? Lenny's going to slap me silly, Doom, because we're good friends.
Yeah.
That's a great Lenny Gallant, one of the greatest songwriters in Canada. I don't know if you're familiar with Lenny. And I got a funny story how I got to know Lenny. That was backstage at one of his shows. I'm sorry, Lenny, if you're watching today, brother, I went blank. I was in Nashville, a lot of trips co-writing down there. And we were staying at the SoCan house in Nashville. The great Daryl Burgess, that wrote Just Came Back for Colin James, has his house in Nashville, and SoCan rents the 2 bottom suites so that you can stay for free if you go to Nashville, if you're a SoCan member. So I was there in one suite, and one morning I was there for 2 weeks, in my first week, and I get a knock on the door from the next gentleman next door, and they said, hi, my name is Lenny Gallant. I said, wow, Lenny, and then we became friends ever since. So
yeah. Well, I must say, though, I think I might be a little bit younger than you are, and my memory is already not as good as it used to be. So it's the humanity of it, right? When we're tired.
Yeah, it kind of rocks me sometimes, though. I start getting worried. I'm going, because I'm such a worrier anyway. I'm going,
no, it's just part of where we are, when you're tired in particular and when you're moving fast and whatnot, the brain, it has it in there, but it doesn't have the direct
Yeah,
access.
yeah. Trying to access the file.
Exactly. Yeah.
Is there an app is there an algorithm you can program that we can fix that up?
No, it is the humanity of where we are, at a certain age, some of these direct memory access things are a little bit more elusive to us.
Yeah.
But, so I want to ask you a different question. So when you think about playing in a band, right? What is your sweet spot in terms of you love big bands, you love small bands, you love trio. What's your thought on kind of band sizes?
Sizes. Obviously the bigger the ensemble, anything past five players, and there's not a lot of air, there's not a lot of space. I mean, every part needs to be worked out, or it sounds like, not just because there's 10 people up there or 12 people, let's just say 10 people at one time, doesn't mean you have to be playing all at once or the same time. You need parts, and those parts need to be produced. So you come in, they come out, you come in, and you come out. So that needs to be organized. I find the big groups that have that organized are incredible. But on the other side, if you have big acts that they don't do their homework and get that worked out, it sounds like it's just too much. It sounds like noise up there, and there's not enough space. I think space. What you don't play and what you don't do in amongst the moments that you do is what makes magic, and it's what you don't say or what you don't play in the space is what really makes things breathe. So I find in any of those scenarios, space, the magic sweet spot of space, especially in a live presentation, can never underestimate that, and that has to be front and center because. You go see all those great acts, you'd be surprised at how they really, really play on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's a great point about, the bigger the band, the more power you have. But as we know, power tools or power can be dangerous if it's not well orchestrated, if not well tamed in some cases, right? So, with great power come great responsibility, they say. And so when you got a big band of 10 or 12 people, you have the responsibility to coordinate, right?
Yeah, and I think when you're around people that, like, if you're around players that get that, because they're all artists and songwriters, or they're all arrangers in their own right, they'll come into a scenario where that's how they approach it. And I think the great players, that's what really separates them apart. Let's take for example, the greatest rock and roll bands of all time, the Rolling Stones, and people could argue, and I've heard many arguments. Oh, well, they're not great players. Yeah, they are great players. And Jagger's not a great singer. Yeah, Jagger is a great singer. But if you listen to how they piece that loose feel thing, that's so well calculated, and so much space. If you watch Keith Richards is brilliant at playing off Ron Wood. But if you notice, Keith Richards will do and Billy Gibbons or ZZ Top was brilliant at this too. Richards will play a riff with maybe an N or a 16. He'll play one, and Ron Wood will finish the back half of that bar. In other words, one down, Ron Wood will be in there with that down on the one or the and. So if you got one and on a guitar riff, Ron Wood will be right in there with what follows that. And they just follow that lead all the way down the song. And that's really, really, that's a scientific way to approach it. Yeah. And that's kind of how I approach the guitar. It's like how Mark Knopfler plays from Dire Straits. He's my ultimate songwriter. Mark Knopfler's my hero. And I really study him for that.
Yeah. Now, is my sound coming through okay for you folks?
Yes.
Okay, good. Because I just want to make sure that we're about the same level here. We have Tammy Kasher chiming in here.
Tammy, yes.
Yeah, she said, Bobby Cameron is such a talented musician, singer, songwriter with a heart of gold. He lives and plays with honesty, sincerity, and he's very engaging and relatable in his performances. Have a special connection with the past, with Bobby and his family, and very dear place in my heart for them. So,
well, Tammy, if you're familiar with Tammy, got to know Tammy just through her, huge heart coming to live shows, and then watching her promote and music around town selfishly with heart and passion with her posts and her blogs. And she just, was helping me in my shows and stuff like that, just, off the grid. And I'm just noticing, like, wow, I mean, what a kind person, what a beautiful person, but really brings it. Like, it's authentic. And I was just grateful that, I ended up, what I do is in her circle, because I benefited greatly from it. And I hope she's got the same thing back from me, but I'm forever grateful for her heart and what she brings to the community.
You bet. Yeah, Tammy is a great supporter of the music community, and I know at times it must be tiring. At times it must take a lot of effort and energy, but
absolutely,
we appreciate what you do for the music community, Tammy.
So, thank you, Tammy. I love you. Thank you.
Yeah, wonderful. Tell us more in terms of, again, when you think about music, you're 30-some, almost 40 years of playing professionally and whatnot. What would be 3 kind of lessons that you've learned that you want to share with folks who are perhaps on their journey, maybe counting their first 5th year or 10th year or something like that? Do you have sort of insights or wisdom that you learned that you want to pass on, my friend?
Yeah. I really, I don't know if it's wisdom, but insights about, if you're really going for this, it's not to be realistic, because I never believed in that word. Mm-hmm. In fact, there's a reason I never believed in that word, because if I really bought into that word when I was young, I would have stopped. Mm-hmm. Because, I got it from my father when I was growing up that, Bobby, I know you love this, but it seems like a crazy way to make a living. And I'd say, yeah, you're right, Dad. What's that got to do with it? And now 58, I'm going, my father. But look at what you're doing and find the areas where you can blow holes in the boat and make it better. Mm-hmm. Don't go into this ignoring the areas you got to strengthen. Mm-hmm. For example, for me, because I only know about me, mm-hmm. I was a songwriter. I had to be a better songwriter. I need to continue to be a better songwriter. And don't be afraid to look at your own stuff and pick it apart and try to make it better. Take criticism, grow from it. Don't base your self-worth on what everybody else thinks, because when it comes down to it, if you really want to move us forward in this crazy business of getting your head knocked off and your heart knocked off at 24/7, then you got to have a tough skin. And at the end of the day, if somebody that you got on the pedestal tells you you're good or you're bad, and that makes a huge difference when you move forward, then you got to stop and find out, do I really believe in myself? Because you're going to hear all the negative stuff, why you shouldn't do this. And then when you move that energy forward, is to improve on everything you're doing. I'm still trying to be a better singer because I need to be. I'm working on it. I train. I'm still trying to be a better lyricist because I study the great lyric, and I'm trying to be better because, like you said, Dune, it's like I love to learn. I want to be better at this, and I'm 58, but I know I can still grow. And have that open heart that if you're into a room full of people, then pick from them and try to grow from that. And don't wrap it up so tight that if it gets poked by somebody, that it deflates you and you go away. Mm-hmm. Try to grow from it. Now, I had to learn that one because that's one I know from firsthand because, I got knocked down a lot and I had 2 choices. Like Larry, I remember Larry Wannick, a great manager, Katie Lang said to me, he said, Bob, he said, it's just somebody's opinion. It's just my opinion. But more importantly, what do you think about what you do? And I just kind of stopped and went, wow. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Because, you're the one that's going to move it forward. Yeah, yeah. And Dune, that, this business is more than others, but probably not. It's set up that for 24 hours a day, if you're really going for it, and I was, in any aspect along your day, there's moments where somebody's going to tell you this is impossible. Mm-hmm. You're not good enough. You're not a good enough singer, a good enough guitar player, good enough songwriter, blah, 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 blah. So what do you do now? Mm-hmm. Grow. Take what you take from them, shove the way of the rest, and keep moving it forward. So I don't know if that was a scattered answer.
Yeah, no, I love it. And so, in other words, rather than focusing on trying to convince them to agree with you that you're good enough, just keep on working on it. And, their opinion will either change or not change, but you are the one who's changing. So
Yeah,
we can only
exactly.
change ourselves, right? We
And
can
I
only
think
change
that
ourselves.
you brilliantly just summed up what I was trying to say, but failing miserably at it. Convince other people. Because you can buy into that because if you're going after record companies or big managers or promoters, you always seem to be trying to sell yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But what sells it is going up on that stage and pouring out your heart and giving it all you got, warts and all. That's what sells it.
Absolutely. And to me, that hasn't changed over time. That whole wisdom, that whole dynamic is still true today. If you're really good, the right people will find you. And probably even more so than ever, that the right people can find you, not constrained by geographical boundaries or whatever have you, with the web being what it is. If you really work on yourself and put yourself out there, the right people will collaborate with you.
I agree. And I don't know if you believe in this, but I kind of do. I think the bar is higher now because like me and you could, and we could access stuff we haven't even heard before that will floor you with a talent level. And I think the bar is higher now. Writing really good songs is great, but they're just really good songs.
Yeah.
We got to write great songs. Oh, they're great, but no, we need fantastic songs. And I think, and you got to be, you're really good live. You got to be unbelievable live. I really believe that. That's where it's at now. That's a barometer. And I think the music business before the internet, they were controlling how we got all these great acts. So in a way it was good. In a way it was controlled by corporations. But now everybody's their own record company, and I can expose myself online and find whatever I want. So now I think across the board, if we're just writing really good songs, and we'll probably build the following. But I want to write great songs. And I'm not just saying me. I want to write unbelievable songs. I want one day before I'm dead and gone to write Free Fallin' by Tom Petty. I want to know what that feels like, to be driving back from the studio going, I just wrote unquestionable hit. And that's just my interpretation of what that feeling must have been like. We all have them. I want to write Africa,
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
And getting to record it like that? I mean, that is what, if I didn't have that juice to want to still do that, and I don't care whether it gets fame or not, because I don't care about that anymore. I just want to know that this is a damn good song.
Yeah.
And, all those great songwriters I had a chance to work with, they just don't bang out ideas and settle. That's something that I want to say is like, you got to rewrite and rewrite and rewrite and rewrite and rewrite and rewrite to get to the greats. Rewrite stuff over and over. They rewrite parts. They just don't settle on the first idea that pops out of your head. They mold it and that's one lesson as a songwriter, and that I really, really, okay, now I get it. Now I get it.
Yeah.
Okay, now I get it.
Now you've released a few CDs along the way, and talk about these. Just sort of reflect on them with us here, Bobby.
Well, yeah, I'm not much a photographer, Dune, as you probably know. I just put them on my Dobro. Okay. Yeah, they're not in order. Actually, the one I'm going to go from left to right. The far one is Comfort Zone, and the first one is Drowning on Dry Land. The one next to that, and I should have 40 of those out, but I don't. But I've recorded a lot of stuff. But the first one is the one that's kind of the light blue shade one. That was my debut disc, and that's the one we had a bunch of singles on it that did well at Canadian radio in '94 under my manager Gary McGowan, who passed away, another icon of Edmonton. Of brain cancer. The one to the left of that is my second disc called Drowning in Dry Land.
Oh, are you starting from the top there, my friend?
No, I should have put them in chronological order, but that would take some thinking. Okay, the one with me in that yellow shirt there, that's the one I did down in Nashville.
Okay, got
with Miles Wilkinson.
Mm-hmm.
That was a great recording session. There's one behind that. I was down there co-writing with the publishing company I was with, Carl in America, and I was recording a record with Miles Wilkinson, the great producer, and he hired. I had in the studio that day. I had the amazing Reese Winings on Hammond B3 that played with Stevie Ray and the Allman Brothers, and that was exciting.
Yeah.
And then the far one, Dune, is my last release, Comfort Zone.
Yeah, that's 2015, I believe.
Yeah, and I have one that's will be my next one. It's going to be called Every Second Counts. Yeah, at this point.
Fantastic. So,
I mean, a guy my age should have like 65 of those, but I just, whatever.
Well, performing live is also time consuming.
Well, you know what? It's no shortage of material, but now I'm just more anal. Are these songs any good? Why would anybody want to hear these? So, maybe I'm second guessing myself more, but anyway.
Oh, cool. Thank you for sharing that. Now, was this at Dan Lin by any chance, or is it somewhere else?
No, I should have some Dan Lin pictures, but I don't. I've been out there a few times. That's still at Sound Extractor. Actually, that's what Don Marcotte. I was in shooting. Don Marcotte was shooting a video for a song. Maybe you could play it if we're freelance. It's called "Where You Live, Where You Die." It's a video, a song that I co-wrote with a guy named Jamie Oppenheimer, Shaman Oppenheimer from Toronto. And Shauna Lee Taylor and Jamie Oppenheimer, and they wrote the lyrics, wrote the music, and I was doing I was doing a video for that in Sound Extractor Studios with Don Marcotte shooting it.
Yeah. Now, Mr. Alan Moya chimed in. He said, "I remember when Bobby won the contest in the '80s. He used to play at the Andante when I was a waiter. Good one," he said.
Dante's, yeah, that was. Thank you, Alan. That was. I remember the first when I moved to Cape Breton, I went to Dante's hanging out because I get a chance to see the late great Gay DeLorme play, and that was mind blowing. I mean, and that's when first time I heard Gord Matthews, and when he had the band The Reclines, that was Katie Lang's band, and I got and there's the picture now you up with the legend himself, Lon John Baldery. That was after our show in, I believe, playing Jeff Healey's in Toronto, and backstage, and I said, "John, can I take a picture?" "Sure, Bob." I remember I remember being at the Edmonton Folk Festival. The first time I played that, I was playing with Baldery, and we were back. I don't know if you're ever back there, Dune, but Edmonton Folk Festival, it's just like how they run it is so amazing. Terry Wickham, it's one of the greatest festivals in the world, and the backstage green room area and where all the musicians hang out, it's a jams going on, and of course everything's free alcohol wise. But I remember John introduced me to. I was just like another moment where I just pinched myself, where John introduced me to. Who was it? Was it? It was somebody famous. Who was it? Oh God, I wish my memory was better. But he called me. He called me a guitar demon. Well, that was kind of interesting. "This is Bob. He's playing with me. He's a guitar demon," with that big English accent. And I remember saying, "Hey, John, was that a compliment or a shot?" No.
Oh, cool. Now
he actually. I wish I could find it, but John actually. John would draw. I remember back in Montreal, we were playing it backstage. He drew pictures of all of our heads and handed it to us.
Really?
I wish I could find that, because I wanted to have that as an album cover one day, because I have that. I sure hope I still kept that. But yeah.
Now, this is your latest single, right?
Yeah, Maureen took that picture. That was at a live shot, and I kind of like that. I mean, it's not. I mean, a lot of people going, "Well, it's not a really good picture of you. You don't look very good. You look in pain." I don't care about that. It's just it's about, I'm in deep flight, deep thought, deep moment. And
Yeah.
yeah, I recorded a song, a real niche song I wrote for, it was kind of self-indulgent, but I wrote it for Stevie Ray because all the lyrics, it was called Blue as Can Be, but I wrote it
Yeah.
about, I used titles of Stevie Ray's songs over the years, and I put sort of in the narrative of the lyric. And if you didn't know Stevie Ray's, songs, you might not get the lyric, but so it was kind of really niche. And it was called Blue as Can Be, but I put it out on August 27th because it was an anniversary of his, the 30th, I think, of his death.
Wow.
Where he, the famous, where he finished a show in Alpine Valley, and he get on, went off the stage, and it was actually Clapton's seat on the helicopter, but Clapton gave him the first helicopter out to Stevie Ray, because Stevie Ray needed to get to the airport to get to the next show, and Clapton let him go. And so that was, I believe Clapton was supposed to go on that helicopter. It was not spooky.
Wow. Yeah, you never know how these things play out as we live our day-to-day sort of moment-to-moment life. Hey?
Yeah. So but that's, and I put that out, and as a single, as you know now, it's, whether people release albums, release singles. And, yeah.
Yeah. Very cool. Now, when you think about, so I'm guessing that with the guitar, you have less time for hockey these days? Or,
yeah, that's me, number 12.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Musicians Hockey League. Yeah, I played, I don't know who took that shot, but that was
Redford.
I still play, but my knees are getting bad, but I still play. But
yeah, it's Redford photos.
Yeah, that's playing Calgary musicians.
Mm-hmm.
Edmonton musicians playing Calgary musicians. But here's the truth of that, Dune. Calgary showed up with ringers.
Oh, yeah?
And they kicked our butt.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
That's my boy, Breton.
Yeah, so I just checking my sound here. Okay, I think you can still hear me, so that's good.
Yeah.
We're back to the guitar here. I have a few more questions for you, though. But before I do that, was there a story that you want to share with our viewers that we haven't gotten to yet, Bobby? A story that's top of mind as you think about your musical journey? A story that could be funny, it could be fantastic, awesome, could be painful, it could be... do you have a story that's sort of top of mind as you think... as we look at this beautiful guitar here that's signed by Stevie Ray Vaughan and, of course, Jeff Beck and many others that you mentioned there.
About that guitar?
No, about anything at all. I'm just...
A funny story?
Any story at all that is top of mind that you want to share with, anything that sort of you come in contact with as you go through your musical... that was a fantastic story you shared about, losing everything that you own in the van stolen. That was a fantastic story.
Well, I mean, something real. I mean, there's lots of those. I mean, because, it's overcoming stuff. I just realized, what I realized when I turned 39, I realized there was something chasing me. I don't know if this is a funny story. Do you want a funny story or just
any story is fine?
Well, I just realized one of my major things in life I realized is part of why I'm here. Yeah. What I need to overcome was just parts of my personality that were getting in the way of my life. I mean, I'm really enjoying myself because I was so driven, and I'm not saying being driven is not good, because some people can be driven but still have balance. I didn't have balance. It was all or nothing. I was all or nothing. It was rock and roll or nothing. Don't get in my way relationship wise. I mean, if you're going to be around this, it's like, remind yourself, this is what I'm doing, and, boom. And I wasn't rude or mean to people, but I was very, 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 I was in a bubble. Mm-hmm. And then life came and just, gave me 1-2, like Tyson, just boom, boom. And that ain't going to work, Bob. And I had to wake up. And what I mean by that was many moments in my life where I just pushed myself health-wise, thinking I was a machine. I was going to be able to handle the stress and stuff like that. And, my psyche got wobbly and just reminded me I'm human and I got to look after myself. Yeah. And I can't be doing all that. So that was, and I have to realize that the pursuit of it, the end result, I had myself convinced when I was young, because when you chase things so hard, you think the prize is what you're doing it for, and then you get there, and now what? But it's and I kept hearing along the way, the journey. Don't forget the journey. I'm going, what are they talking about? The journey. I mean, I'm enjoying the journey, but no, you're not really right. These little things like this moment today. If I was 22, this would have to be okay. Is this further than where I need to go? I mean, I was all about that,
Yeah.
because when you're trying to push your business forward, you can get lost in that. But you wrapped it up so well an hour ago when you said it's about, I think you said, not trying to convince. It's about doing what you love to do. The rest, that famous movie, build it and they will come,
Yeah.
And just do what you do, let go and let God, and it's going to be okay. Because I'm telling you, I'm so content with knowing I gave it everything I got, and I pieced myself back together. I'm a better version of myself now.
Yeah. As they say, so cliche, but what doesn't break us will tend to make us stronger. And, that the more I hear of hardship that people endure during their career, the more I appreciate the fact that they have built themselves to be a better and more resilient person than they did. I remember I was so focused on business at one time that I cut out music completely. There was no music for 11 years. Now, I always loved music from the age of 7. I loved music, but throughout my I guess 30s, the entire 30s, and into my first year of being 40, I was like no music at all. And I'm so glad that when I turned 42, I decided music is going to make its way back. And just.
Well, I mean, you're a handsome man. I mean, I'm not just you are. You're a good looking guy, and you're healthy looking, and you're a young man. And the thing is, I've known. I mean, but you went and built this other career, and now I got respect for that. Music, I find sometimes if you take a departure, you're meant to take the departure, and music just needed to let you go do that. It was going to call you back when it was ready to call you back. I have great friends that built some amazing careers, and they're back in, and, like, for example, like me, I don't know, I maybe dropped a seed yesterday. I'm studying computer science now. I had some university I never finished, and when COVID hit, I went back into studying, and I'm hard at it now, like coding and learning that. I don't know if I'm good at it, but I really like to grow and build that side of myself. But music is such, I realize it now, Dune, that I'm okay. I'm not going to be famous. If you would have asked me that question when I was 31, 32, I would have looked at it and said, what are you talking about, Dune? Like, I'm not going to be the next Bruce Springsteen. Like, well, no, hold on here now.
Yeah.
But, it's just like, you go for it, you try to go for it. But I'm so content I'm just really, really happy that, that God gave me something I was sort of good at. And I just worked on trying to get better. And there's just that humble contentment about myself now.
You said the word content and contentment a few times, and I want to highlight a few days ago, I posted a post on Facebook that says, I've always been content. I've always been content as I pursue the icing on the cake, I call it, right?
Yeah.
So it's okay. Just because you're content doesn't mean you don't have big goals, doesn't mean you're not going to pursue something.
That's right.
But I think the difference is to say, my life is meaningful with or without that achievement.
Well, and I think that, and bravo to you. I mean, obviously you were raised in your DNA where that current was there in your ocean of your DNA. I had to turn that tap on years later because I didn't even realize that tap was shut off and I wasn't even thinking about it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But that I find when you have that contentment, there's no desperation in what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And here's another analogy, and I don't know who wrote this. This is, all those self-help books that I engulfed. I read it. Yeah, that was pretty much me, wasn't it? It was an analogy of envisioning yourself swimming towards a reef.
Okay.
Why don't you just glide toward the reef instead of pounding your arms as hard as you could? And I said, that was me. Pounding my arms, because I was raised to believe you just go harder.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't go at all. And I'll tell you something else that you're really making me think now. The things that happen in my life that I'm going, how'd that happen? I didn't put any energy on it.
Mm-hmm.
They showed up.
Mm-hmm.
The things I really wanted to force to happen never happened.
Mm-hmm.
The shot with Baldery, I wasn't pursuing Baldery. I just happened to be somewhere and some call came in, and I wasn't even pursuing that. My publishing deal, I wasn't even pursuing it. I was at a show playing the Horseshoe in Toronto, and I wasn't just doing a gig. I wasn't actively putting, and all of a sudden there was people there that were looking for a writer, and they just jived and what. My point is that just have faith. The energy's out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's things happening that you're not even focusing on. That's one I had to learn the hard way.
Yeah.
And boy, is that a magical moment when you realize that. You mean to say, I said to myself one day, do you mean to say that just sitting here in this room, believing in myself and putting that positive energy for everybody, including yourself and all the great people that chapped in here today, that's moving the current of the universe? Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That is such an important point that I want to reiterate what you said there. Really, the idea is that when we are younger, typically, we tend to think that we need to control everything. Now, I used to be a bit of a perfectionist, so I can say that with a bit of understanding and empathy. So when we're young, we tend to think that we have to control everything, and we have to, and yet somewhere along the lines, we tend to discover, however the story came about, we tend to discover that we don't have to be so controlling of everything. That in fact the world is much bigger than we are, and if we put ourselves in the right place with the right people and doing the right thing, magic sometimes happen in the strangest timing, is what you said, right?
Yeah, and and that brilliantly put, by the way. You're really good at describing things. I'm kind of like, I'm. When I talk, I actually have another part of my personality who's running through the rooms of my brain trying to figure out where it's going. but and you just have a way of just, that's what I wanted to say. But there has been people I've met that were all those negative things, but they were just so unbelievably talented that it was going to happen. I had to realize that, I'm not afraid to say it, I had to wake up and realize, you know what? The world doesn't revolve around you, Bobby. And the bottom line is, the music business is going to go on with or without you. And so will the world. So you might want to figure this out kind of soon.
Yeah. One of the main goals of life isn't to achieve. One of the main goals of life is to enjoy and to contribute, I guess. And that's how, we tend to have that clarity as we grow older, I think. When we're young, and that's fine, because that's how some of the innovations that are created in the world are from those people who push so hard. I joke and I say, great people are fundamentally somewhat imbalanced or not balanced.
But don't you agree that, I mean, when you're, I've even been around some, and you have too, I know, some, intellectual, even on the science end of people, how they think. And there is a common denominator with, I can use the word genius or gifted people. I use an analogy of balancing a high wire, because there's the light side and the dark side. And at any time their foot can slip and they're into this, there's a dark part of our personality that in times can be, the hurdle in front of us, but it's also, if it's mixed in the right ingredients of the mix, it's part of the genius that pushes it forward. But you need to have this imbalance, and one dominates the other. That's where the trouble begins.
You bet. It's like a huge nuclear power plant. You better manage that power plant. But shutting it down is not always the answer. Shutting it down.
Dude, you don't want Homer Simpson in the control area pushing the levers.
Now, so just for fun, there are some people have a huge, generating nuclear power plant in terms of brain power and all of that in innovation. but they're guided by things that allows them to be, in some cases, potentially damaging to themselves and to society in some cases. And then there are people who, the power plant is not as powerful, but they're very much able to manage that power plant. And it's a modest power plant that just hum along.
You're so good at explaining things, dude. I feel calmer talking to you.
So I want to ask you another question. Actually, let's see if there's viewers. Folks, if you have questions for Mr.
Please
Robbie
say hello.
Cameron, please chime in.
Where's all my friends at? Where's all my friends from Cape Breton at today?
There's still some viewers watching, but they must be shy. Or maybe they're, I don't know, but there's still some viewers watching. And so please chime in and say hi and ask questions and interact with us, folks. But the next thing that I wanted to, first of all, I hope you are not constrained for time, Mr. Bobby.
No, I'm all
Cameron.
Yours today.
Okay.
I'm all yours.
So what I want to hear a little bit more is, so you have a family that, tell me a little bit about, if you don't mind, I don't mean to get into some things that beyond the scope of that conversation here. Tell me a bit more about your wonderful wife. You talked her up there yesterday when we were chatting in the tech test there. However much you want to share, my friend.
Oh, well, I mean, Sherry, my wife's name is Sherry. And she's,
There's a song about that, Sherry.
Sherrie. And Sherry is incredibly driven entrepreneur. Sherry, obviously, 2 careers, one with Autism Speaks Canada, actively involved in pushing that cause forward. And through charity work and fundraising, and that's just a lot of traveling involved in that, and a lot of functions that I've actually partaked in. Some of my shows where I've helped to do my end of my groundswell marketing with my people on Autism Speaks Canada. But she does that too. Does an amazing job of that. And Sherry also works for Primerica, and she's financial advising and getting financial houses in order. And insurance packages and life insurance packages, and that's something new in her life the last 2 years, and she's excelling at that. But if I had to sum my wife Sherry up in a heartbeat, Sherry has an incredible heart for, and by the way, she's an incredible singer. Sherry's just born with a gifted voice. She's the singer in the family. So is my daughter Jaden, and my son Breton has an amazing voice, and Daddy can sing, but Daddy can't sing like those 3. But Sherry's she's got this amazing heart to learn, to grow, and to bring and to help. And she's building her own businesses and being self-employed and entrepreneur. As you know, Dune, there's a lot of challenges, but a lot of rewards to that. But she is a going concern. Every day gives it everything she's got, and she is definitely the first in command around here. Mm-hmm. And I'm happy to say that. Mm-hmm. I learn a lot from her about life, and she's really she's organized my mess, and got me organized in life, and taught me a lot of good things about life. So I'm grateful.
That's fantastic. Thank you for sharing a bit of that as well.
Oh, no worries, man. So here's the negative stuff about my wife.
Go ahead.
No, I'm not going there.
Music. We got a few more comments coming in here. We got Marlene Gaudette who said, "Hey, Bobby, long time. You would not remember me. I just dance to your music."
Well, you know what? Thank you. Hold on, Marlene. I'm just going to put my... Yeah, I think I remember that pretty face. Yeah.
There you go. Now just imagine her.
Thank you for saying hello, Marlene.
Imagine her just dancing and enjoying the dance there. Linda Bayer said, owning LBs for 32 years. Bobby, we always enjoy them many times on our stage, and keep up the great work, Pat and Linda.
Actually, LBs, Pat and Linda, that... I believe they might have sold that now, but that was the legendary room out in St. Albert, and I played there a lot, man, when I moved here from Alberta. And I played there a lot with another amazing talent, a legend in Edmonton, Daryl Barr, and another amazing talent, Mark Puffer. We did a lot of sweating on that stage, and Pat and Linda. And Linda's another incredible talent herself, and owned the club and really, really supported and gave a platform for, singer-songwriters in this, back in the 80s. It was probably pretty well my second home. and did a lot. I earned my wings growing in that stage, and I got to know Daryl and did a lot of stuff with them.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful for Pat and Linda and Jade. That was he became one of the managers too. Their son Jade, an incredible chef, an incredible heart for music and support, and they're all such support for so many. So
yeah. Thank you, Linda.
Lenny Gallant, yes, Lenny's so handsome, and there's Charlie Daniels there. We're going back over all that.
Yeah. So the next question I wanted to ask you is, do you, it sounds like you lived in the Toronto area. You lived maybe in BC, maybe at some point in
Vancouver. I lived in Vancouver,
in Alberta. Is Alberta a great place to kind of hang your hat for good, my friend, or are you still yearning for British Columbia, the beautiful, warmer places?
Well, I'm originally from Cape Breton too, and Vancouver is just, I'd love to get out, see Susan and David. I miss them. I miss David. David's my blood brother. I got so many friends out in Vancouver. But no, Edmonton. I mean, let's face it. It's not about me anymore. Really? No, it's not. Hold on, Dune. Don't tell me that. It's not about me anymore. No, it's not, Bobby. It hasn't been for a long time. I'm talking to myself here too, but it's about my kids. This is their home. Edmonton is an amazing place. I'm not done here yet. I mean, I'm trying to be a better producer. I'm grateful. I've been getting a lot of calls for that, and I'm teaching online too. That's another thing I'm doing. Anybody interested? I have guitar teaching online and songwriting stuff online. Just go check out my links. So no, I mean, Dune, I think this is probably where I'm supposed to be because I just keep coming back here.
Yeah. Well, cool. That's fantastic. And now tell us about the teaching online. So you do that through, whatever the technology, and they just sort of join you from their home?
Like as you've been using this app here. I've been doing it through Zoom. I've been doing it through just FaceTime. I've been doing it through Skype. I just, all those platforms, I got them. But most people think that I've been taking on guitar students, and I have an unorthodox way of teaching or applying. I don't like to say that guiding them, but trying to find out what their essence is. As you mentioned, you asked that hardcore question, which most people don't ask. What is it? What are you trying to get out of you as a player? That's what I try to get out of people, trying to find out what it is about them, and get in there, and then I'll fire in the things that work for me. And there's theory in there and stuff that can maybe, they can put in their arsenal and grow as a player. But it's fun. It's engaging sessions. We build tracks up together. We're jamming. We're trading information on a weekly basis. Then we have our weekly sessions. So I've been really enjoying that. And plus, I'm doing song development. We're working with songwriters where they're, just trying to either co-write online or they got songs and just need some arrangement things, and then we get demos done, and we're trading back tracks and producing until this world gets back to normal. We're actually being in the same room together in studios. We're here.
This is so exciting. This is so exciting. Let me tell you what I think of when I hear you describe that. It is the typical evolution of many professionals who, in their latter years, decided to kind of give back more and kind of enable others more than just developing themselves only. One time I was very focused in my career, and then somewhere along the line, I was actually asked to go and do a lot of university and corporate training and university teaching and whatnot. And at first I said, I'm too busy. But once I said yes, I really enjoy the whole thing of, again, helping others achieve their best and whatnot. So I very much identify with where you're heading there with your kind of helping others.
And I can tell you're really good at it. But that's what really, that's really what really gets me excited.
Well, folks, the website is just right on screen there. So
and you can. So that's my main. I'm going to put my glasses on. I know I kind of look like a deer in the headlights, but you can go to my producers page. There's links there for that. That's just
let me make it a little bit bigger here. Let's take a bit of a tour here of producer thing is far right here. If I go there it is, producer. And
some of the acts I produced, and there should be a link to the stuff I produced, and there should be how to get a hold of me if you're looking for anything, demos, whatever.
So in other words, I really I really want to underscore that lucky you out there, folks, who are wanting to do something that's out of your own comfort zone, out of your own reach and whatnot, and want to tap into somebody who has the experience and, again, the facility to do it and the desire to do it. Look up Mr. Bobby Cameron there at bobbycameron.com, and you'll be able to go through that experience. That is exciting. Actually, to me, that's very exciting. It's one thing to kind of continue a career to the point where you finish your career and it's really all about your own craft. But it's another thing at some point to be able to actually, pour into some others, right?
Yeah, and I've grown so much from doing even the young artists I produce and even the older artists I produce, they bring something to it I don't have. They bring a skill set I don't have, and I grow from each one. Mm-hmm. But I love trying to get into what I really drive. And I know what I'm going to explain, you're going to explain it better back to me. That's what I love about this. But it's just getting into a situation where everybody brings their strengths. But if you can get into that mojo, that sweet spot of the union of the people, then the whole thing grows bright, and then everybody leaves stronger and better, and especially the product. Yeah. And I'm just a heat-sinking cruise missile to grow and learn. Mm. I've got to keep my mind active. That's where I get into danger if I don't. So. Mm-hmm.
There you go, folks. As Mr. Cameron said, he's all about synergy and making sure that the everybody comes in.
So all these, I just and I wasn't going to do the guitar instructor thing, but everybody keeps asking me, teaching guitar. Well, yeah, of course, okay, if you want. I mean, I never thought I was a great guitar teacher. But I just really thought about it. I put together a template for it, how I approach it, and it's about playing, but it's applying it to stuff that you want to play.
Yeah. So it's almost more of a coaching and not totally. not just teaching or mentoring, but coaching, bringing totally. Your best vision out with you and enabling you to do that.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I think that's what really. What it's all about anyway, really, Yeah. But some people just have a way, if you're like all the years I've been around so many great producers stuff, like some of them just have a way of, while you're working with them, they haul you through their journey, but you're learning as you go because they kind of let you know where they're at every step of the way. And I was like a fly in the wall, picking their brain.
Yeah, well, that's cool. I'm excited about that. And, believe it or not, I shouldn't say that. I believe that this COVID phenomenon, once we are over it largely, the world will not be quite the way it was prior to COVID. So this whole realization that we can interact with people who are not in our own town, who are in another country, another province, another whatever, or another town, or simply just are not able to come see us face to face. There's value in that. Certainly it will never replace the face to face. Face to face is precious and more precious than ever. But I think, it's not like, I'm going to do a bunch of online stuff, and when COVID is done, I'll just get back to what I was doing before. I don't think it's going to be like that.
But when you briefed me before we did the interview, you touched on, that's the energy of the heart of it. I think that when you're doing these online things, you just got to pour that energy into it like you do, as if you are in the room together, because it will translate and will gauge in the back and, because I believe in the back and forth. I know you do too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, cool. Now, as we wrap this up, my friend, we do have time, so there's no rush here. What I like to do is, there's a whole lot of videos and content and everything on your website. Frankly, it's like drinking from a fire hose here as I'm looking at this here. It's just, again, this is what happened when you have 40 years or so to work at it. Lots and lots of content out there, folks. Do visit the website there at the address that I have mentioned there on the screen that I just display it here. So people can visit those there. And you have a YouTube channel and many other social media presence as well. But as we kind of round the corner on wrapping this up here, I would like you to maybe just do a little bit of a monologue. I'm just kidding. A little bit of just summarize, conclude, kind of do a bit of a mini speech. However, so that we sort of wrap it up with that rather than some more questions from me. Does that sound about cool? That's that.
You mean as far as just trying to wrap up my journey from start to finish?
We want to hear from you. Imagine now you are on stage. We never had this talk before. It just started like right now. Moment number one just started, and you just got on stage, and you're not being interviewed, but you're there to just to tell us something.
Yeah, but if I was on stage, I have a guitar. Hold on. Hold on.
Yeah. Now, I must warn you that this mechanism, this platform, Be Live, while it's very good for interview, it doesn't translate the guitar very well. So if you're okay with your guitar sounding not quite great, almost like underwater.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, okay.
I don't have to play.
But you can do that. No, strum your guitar and tell us, kind of take us out in whatever way. Take your time, though. Take your time, though. No rush.
Okay, where it started was probably, I don't know, 1971. This young kid from Port Hawkesbury, Cape Breton, from Pitt Street, 212 Pitt Street in Port Hawkesbury, Cape Breton, wanted to be a hockey star and realized maybe that wasn't going to happen. And one day he looked at a guitar differently and put his hands around it, and everything changed for the better. My dad thought everything changed for the worse. But at the first time in my life, I felt like I belonged. And that was it. I grabbed the guitar. I grabbed my knapsack. I took the Greyhound bus to Halifax. And then here I am today in Edmonton, Alberta. 35 years later, playing every, probably I can use the word, dump from here to Halifax and some good gigs in between to learn my craft. And figure out that I wanted to try to make a living being a singer-songwriter in the music business. I wanted to find a fan base. I wanted to find a home. I wanted to find a family. I wanted to find a stage. I wanted to taste my dream. And I just imagined it being as sweet as it could ever be. But I realized I had to go after it. I had to feel the fear and do it anyway, and I did. I fell. I was broken. I picked myself back up. I put the Band-Aids on. I learned. I grown. And here I am today, 58 years old, 2020, November 30th, Edmonton, Alberta. And I'm more content now than I ever been. That's it. That's my journey. I'm sticking to it. Peace.
Fantastic. That says it all. You're more content than you've ever been. And again, make no mistake about it, folks. He is still pursuing huge excellence in all aspects of life, but just with the balance that says, whatever happens to those pursuits, you are very content with your life still. It's a great discovery that many of us get to make along the way, I think. Mr. Tony Ruffo chimed in again here, and I think his comment is representative of the folks who are watching. He said, great to hear these amazing stories from a Canadian icon, and with an exclamation mark there. And folks, if you have been watching here, this broadcast.
Thank you, Tony.
If you've been watching and you wanted to say some encouraging words to Mr. Bobby Cameron, feel free to do so before we wrap it up here. The stream is delayed by a few seconds as you see it there. So as you see it, it'll be a few seconds later. And so I'm going to hang around here to have you perhaps just chime in with some final comments here. So while they're doing that, and I will display them as the comments come up. First of all, thank you so much, Mr. Bobby Cameron, for joining us for what turned out to be really 2 hours of a wonderful conversation about, again, music career, and recording and live, and really interaction with some great, famous icons of our time, whether it's in the US or Canada or abroad. But really the biggest thing that I want to take away for myself is that music, just like any other discipline, allows us to hone ourselves, allow us to build ourselves up to a better person. And sounds like you've been able to do that. Sound like you've been able to, through the ups and downs and heartbreak and joy of music, you've been able to really build a more resilient version of yourself that you're going to be able to take into the future here. 58 or whatever is still young, my friend. I know I'm younger than you are, but 58 is still young by today's standard, right?
Well, Dune, it's like, and thank you so much. And it's an honor to be here. And it's an amazing show. And you do an amazing job. And you're a talented guy and with an amazing heart. And it's, thank you for what you do for so many. And you're bringing our stories out to a lot of people, and selfishly, which is what it's all about. I just, through the broken bones and the ego, I am a better version of myself, and I'm still working on it, and I love music more than I ever did, and I'm so happy to say that. I never wanted to end up at the end of this journey being jaded, because what a slap in the face of the universe. And I believe in God, and I believe in our Creator, and I believe that that's where the gift came from. To feel that way would be such a disservice to, not, that's not the right word, to be given something that I love so much and go back and go, I didn't get to where I wanted to go, so I hate it now. That's ridiculous. Yeah. I'm humbled. I got humbled. I needed to be humbled, but I'm hungry still. I'm hungry and humbled. It's a better version of me. I like it better. I like me better.
There you go. That's a good thing. That's a wonderful thing. Jean chimed in again. She said, "Love you, Bob. Really enjoyed your great interview with Dune." So fantastic, with hearts there and exclamation mark. So thank you, Jean.
Love you guys too, Jean.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody who have chimed in thus far. And for those of you who are watching the recorded version of this, it'll be on Facebook here. It remains at this live video here forever, as well as it'll be on YouTube as well, which is great for LinkedIn and other platforms.
I'll share it too, Dune. That's great.
Yeah. And so with that, I'm going to wrap up here. I think that was so let me just get this back on here. I'm going to wrap up by saying, friends, again, you've been listening to Mr. Bobby Cameron, and just a fantastic musician, and just a fantastic human being who has a lot to offer our community going forward, COVID or not COVID. Please reach out to him to really find ways of maybe ways that he can help you on your musical journey, whether it's in producing music, whether it's in learning how to play instruments better and things like that, guitar in particular. Reach out to Mr. Bobby Cameron there. And so again, sir, thank you so much for your time and effort and energy, and have a great rest of your day.
Yeah, thank you, Dune. I'm really grateful. Thank you so much for bringing me into your world today. It was a lot of fun.
Fantastic. If you hang around in the green room for another moment, I'll give you a high five in there, but I'm going to say bye to everybody here.
I'm going to go for a beer in the green room right
there
now.
You go. Virtual beer. That's
virtual beer,
nicely chilled for you in there. So
love you, Dune. Peace,
love
bro.
You. Oh, look at that. Percy Marshall just chimed in, and Percy said, "You're too humble, Bobby. I thank you very much for the compliment earlier, but never underestimate your own abilities. You are a great guitarist and performer." So,
thank you. I'm grateful, man. I'm grateful. I'm grateful for that. Grateful for you.
Wonderful, fantastic. Again, thank you, Mr. Percy Marshall, the fantastic guitar,
incredible,
kind of elite guitar level there. So, all right, have a great day, my friend.
You too, brother. Peace out, everybody.
Peace out.